Not your mama's house.
Hello, and welcome to Not Your Mama's House. This is our history podcast.
Hello, this is Coco.
And this is Mary Catherine. And welcome to episode number 2.
Woohoo! 2. We made it to 2.
We did. The fact we did anything 2 weeks in a row is pretty impressive. I can barely keep my workout schedule up that long.
Are you kidding me? I totally agree. I mean, it's been a train wreck today, to say the least. I can't believe I made it here.
A lot of times when I have a crazy day, I like to play Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train.
Oh, really?
Because it really resonates with me, but it's also like a hype song.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would encourage you to play that maybe on your way home.
Well, thank you very much, because we are celebrating someone special today.
It's my birthday on Sunday.
And guess what? Her parents are leaving. She and her sister have a birthday the same week. They like 4 days, being 1 year apart. That's another story. But anyway, we're not going to be here. We're going with our friends to the Outer Banks.
So my sister and I are birthday orphans.
I know, I'm
We have
so
each other to
sorry.
celebrate. It's okay.
Woo-hoo. That does make me sad. Had I thought about it. Oh, wait, I did. Whoops.
It's
No,
like you
I'm
planned it.
teasing.
Just kidding.
Just like I planned it. What's up with that? You guys still get nice gifts.
Yes, of course. Well,
So there
and
you go.
the great thing about having a sister so close in age to me and with a birthday so close is that we get like 2.5 weeks of celebrating. So
That's
celebrate
true.
my birthday this week, celebrate her birthday next week.
Yeah, but don't forget. So we always do like multiple events for each birthday, because everyone has a birthday and gets to pick what they want for their birthday dinner. And then we go out and eat. And then when you all were little, you had a party with your friends. And then we would typically have another party. I don't really know why, but I don't know. It seemed like it was always 4s. So that was super fun. But now that we have 5 birthdays within about 3 weeks of each other, yeah, can't really do that too much anymore.
Party, party, party. That's
I know,
what it is.
right?
Yes. So, welcome if this is your first time listening. Again, this is Not Your Mama's House. So we are, again, a podcast that's meant to be fun and educational and historical. So if you like old houses, if you like history, if you like comedy, I mean, we're not professional comedians. And we used to have,
Yes, we are.
we're really not professionals at anything we're doing right now, but we think it's really
Well,
fun. And
I consider myself a professional shopper.
I mean, yes.
I think that counts.
You know what else I'd consider you a professional at?
Yes.
Returning things. You are so good at returning
Yeah.
things.
Oh my gosh. What is up with that? I know. It's like this phobia. If I don't buy it, then it's not going to be there when I get back. So I buy it, take it home, think about it, try it, and then I'm like, yeah, no. Still don't like it. Take it back.
See, I'm
It's
the
ridiculous.
opposite. I am, okay, I'm going to sit on it for a week, and if it's still there in a week, then it's meant for me to buy it. And if it's not, then oh well. And then if I get it and I don't like it, I still probably don't return it.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. No, I have buyer's remorse sometimes, but not that frequently, because I return everything.
I like it. I know. My favorite is when I go shopping with you and you're encouraging me to buy something, and then you're like, if you don't like it, I'll return it for you.
Yeah. And don't forget, I am a wonderful enabler
You really
at
are.
shopping. I can justify purchasing anything.
You know what? I appreciate how encouraging you are.
Thank you.
Always have, always will.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Aldous.
So we've got to, you recognized me. Elvis, yeah. So, just a little bit about the podcast itself. This podcast is for retirees. It's for mom sitting in the car line. What else, MC?
It's for really anybody who loves a good podcast, loves like a good medium length listen, but doesn't like all of the, cursing or maybe inappropriate language or inappropriate content for little ears or, sensitive groups. I don't know. We just wanted to take a more all encompassing approach on our podcast. And if you happen to have a story or grew up in a really cool old fancy house or have maybe a ghost story because we're getting close to Halloween, feel free to email us our.roomies, ROOMIES, @gmail.com. And as Coco mentioned too, and I mentioned, we are not professionals at this. We're
Yes,
probably
we
going
are.
to, we, in our minds and hearts, we are, but we're probably going to say things wrong from time to time and we'll open up the corrections closet.
Us?
We're never
Us are.
wrong.
So
Just ask our husbands.
yeah, on second thought, maybe not. But so a little about this podcast, like we'll take a unique home and focus on it, a different home at each of our podcasts, on each of our podcasts. We look for unique places, unique homes, um, and it can be from all over the world.
Yes. Well, speaking of unique homes, my home
Did
had,
it unique up on you?
you know what uniqued up on me? You're such a comedian.
I can hardly stand it.
The internet not working. Our neighbors were having some construction done and clipped our internet line. And so we didn't have internet, which is obviously a total first world problem. But you and Poppy got
Yes.
lots of quality time with us while we were over there downloading
Yes.
shows. Thank
It
you.
was wonderful.
So, but
all those sweet little faces.
because of that, so from time to time, speaking of shopping, I love bargain hunting. And so,
Yes,
as you well
that's
know,
right.
I love a good online auction. And
Absolutely.
so on like Sunday or Monday, there was an online auction and I bid on a bunch of stuff and then our internet went out. So I had no way to like check the bids or anything because my computer had my password and I didn't want to like go through the whole like rigmarole of like having to change my password and stuff. I just wasn't feeling it. And I get an email on like Wednesday that I had won 4 items. Guess how much I
Yay.
paid for my 4 items?
200.
$38.70. And that was a dresser with a marble top,
No.
5 Christmas wreaths,
What?
a true drawer file cabinet that's like wooden mid-century modern, and a dining room table, all for $38.
What?
And granted, a lot of them need some work, but for $38, I'll gladly work on them.
Yeah, I'll gladly watch you work on them.
Want to buy anything? I'll sell it. You get the friends and family
no,
discount.
thank you.
Well,
No,
okay.
thanks anyway.
You're welcome.
Can you work on staircases? So that's what we're doing now. We're working on our house, our own personal home, my husband and I. What a fiasco. Fortunately, he has a lot of experience. We have a lot of experience, building homes in the past. And that's kind of where our interest in these old homes and unique homes come from, is our building business.
Well, and an appreciation for the craftsmanship that was in them.
That's
and
right.
is in them, because
That's exactly
you know what
right.
it takes to make that piece, whatever it is, that beautiful
Yes.
3-layer crown molding or those,
So
intricate
pretty.
carvings. And I know it's been said many times that a lot of what was made back then can't be made today because there are no craftsmen for it.
Isn't
So-
that crazy?
Mhm.
And a lot of it is just, like a foam product. So, I mean, not styrofoam, obviously. It's a more stable than that. I'm not sure exactly what the technical term is. I do know who the manufacturers are, but I won't say that. So, but it's just, it's not the same as having a craftsman's put together a beautiful, beautiful piece for your home.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with the staircase issue?
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. Who knew? I mean, I guess my husband knew this because he told me as I was asking him to help your sister move, that the spindles aren't fitting in our staircase, which means the staircase is unstable because it's kind of at an angle. And so he's pretty
Ticked.
pretty ticked. Good way to say it. And oh yes, by the way, we have a little sweetie pea here with us today. She's been really, really sick this week, feeling so much better.
Yes.
So it is our almost 4-year-old little girl, and she's had double lower lobe pneumonia.
Yes. And she's on the mend and she's feeling much better. No, she hasn't had a fever in a couple of days, which is good. And
Yeah.
no more really coughing fits, but still not loving to eat food. And she was at her school for like 2 hours this morning.
No.
And then I texted her teacher and was like, how's she doing? And she was like, well, she's really tired and she won't eat. So, why don't you come get her? So I did.
Oh, little pumpkin.
You know.
Well, so what about movies? So have you seen any good movies this week?
I have not, but I am on season 6 of White Collar, and so I'm almost done.
And that's good. I've got to start watching it. Well, I actually did not go see Reagan. I've been way too busy to go to the movies. I've been saying that all day, just combining multiple words. It's like, what?
Because your brain is like moving way faster
It's
than your
because I'm pretty much a girl genius.
Because you're just
That's
thinking
right.
too much.
What can I say? I am a girl genius.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I haven't had a chance to go see that. Hopefully sometime in the next month or so I'll be able to. But I do want to plug the author Elizabeth Phillips Corey, Corey, her book, What Happened to Amy, and really a terrific mystery. As I went back and re-listened to what I said last week about the book, it seemed as though when I spelled her name, it dropped the E. So anyway, she's an up-and-coming author.
So that's our first corrections closet.
I corrected my correction.
Well, shall we get started?
Yes, we shall. So I just want to kick this off by peeking, and that would be P-I-Q.
Peak-ing.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. So anyway, let me just ask you a couple of questions. What we're going to be talking about today, and I want to see if you can guess where this particular location is. Okay, so in this particular location, it's in the mountains, and they know that the earliest sign of seeing the Native Americans come to this particular place, which is said, according to the Native Americans, to have, the waters were healing waters. A very unusual smell, sometimes kind of warm. And
Is that because someone was going pee-pee in it?
well, of course. It totally threw me off. It's like totally threw me off there. Yeah. Maybe that's why they were warm. But anyway, it wasn't until 1778 that it was officially considered a site. And this is when people actually started going to this area and bathing in the waters for healing purposes. Have any idea where this is?
Do you want me to pretend guess? I tell this to Lily all the time. because I know the answers to a lot of her questions. And I
Yeah.
say, do you want me to guess like I don't know, or do you want me to guess like I do know?
Guess like you don't know.
Oh, okay. Pennsylvania.
Oh, that is so close, but blah, wrong. It's actually White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. So, what we want to focus on today is a specific home located on the resort of the Greenbrier. The home is called the Hawley Home, Hawley, and our family has had the opportunity to stay in this magnificent home several times. It's just it's just full of character because of and unique qualities. But first, we want to talk a little bit about the Greenbrier itself because our family also loves going to the Greenbrier. True, it's not quite the same that it was, when I first started going, probably 40 years ago, 50 years ago, or maybe a little longer, but who's counting? But anyway, just a beautiful sight. So, the earliest account of the Native Americans coming to this particular property at the Greenbrier is the mid 1700s. We know that in 1778 is when the Greenbrier officially began, or is known as the beginning of the Greenbrier, although at that time it was called not the Greenbrier.
It was called not the Greenbrier. So when people arrived, did they say, welcome to not the Greenbrier?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I kind of lost my spot. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. My bad. So, in 1778, Mrs. Anderson, a local pioneer, adopted the local Native American tradition of taking the waters to relieve her chronic rheumatism. So, based on the sources that I've looked at, for the first 125 years, the resort was known by the name of White Sulphur Springs. Once again, not the Greenbrier. It was a destination for people during the summers who wanted to escape that coastal heat and diseases. That's really interesting when you think about it. Actually, remember during COVID, where'd we go? The Greenbrier. Yeah, how interesting is that, right? The property was acquired by the Caldwells, which was a prominent Baltimore family, and they developed the large property as a resort, selling cottages. Many of them still stand today. And these cottages were sold to the prominent Southern individuals. Noble guests of the early 19th century included Martin Van Buren and Henry Clay.
So can you describe a little bit like what it's like when you pull up to the Greenbrier and kind of like what you see when you drive in?
Yeah. Years ago, it was said, and if I recall correctly as well, and I'm talking many years ago, probably 50 years ago, the road to the Greenbrier was actually green. It was paved green.
I remember it when we lived in West Virginia and we would go there, the highway, or maybe I remember there being a green road because I was like 3 or 4, and I specifically remember the highway or like a big road being green pavement, and I was like, why is the road green?
Yeah.
And like mama or someone was like, it's because we're by the Greenbrier.
Yeah. I mean, just such a magical place. So when you pull into the Greenbrier, of course, you have to be, in essence, kind of vetted to get onto the property. And the place itself is just magnificent. It's just so relaxing, and that good mountain air is so refreshing.
So it's in the hills, like the
Allegheny,
yes,
Allegheny
like the
Mountains.
Appalachians, yes, and it's kind of a rolling landscape. And a lot of these cottages are kind of like tucked into the hillside a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so pretty. But you know what I really love about it? To me, it is America because it's been there so long. And when you look at the history, such as in 1859, the Caldwells built a huge hotel on the property. It was called the Grand Central Hotel. It came to be known by the moniker the White, or later, the Old White. So during the Civil War, the property changed hands between the forces of the Confederate Army and the Union Army, who almost burned the resort to the ground. And then following the Civil War, the resort reopened under Confederate States of America. It became a place for many Southerners and Northerners alike to vacation. I mean, this was like ritzy, like top-notch ritzy. And what was so cool, in one of the ballrooms, and although you can't see it now, but there was an area that all the parents sat. You remember this?
Yes,
the balcony area?
The,
that was so cool.
Chaperones.
The chaperones, that's right. That's right. So not necessarily the parents, but the chaperones of those individuals that were seeking the companion of the opposite sex. So, they would dance with their beautiful flowing gowns and just so exquisite. And it's really, I mean, when you walk in that ballroom today, you're like, oh my goodness, you can see and feel the vibes and the history and the beautiful lighting. It's just a really, really unique place. I mean, if you never stay there, it's terrific to take a tour. So, this, the resort itself, I mean, gosh, been around since the Civil War. In 1910, the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway purchased the resort property. And it, when I was there, C&O owned it at that time when I first started going. Not that was in 1911. I'm not that old, folks. But they owned it evidently for quite some time.
Well, and I remember they told us that C&O, or whatever C&O merged into, there was a railroad company that still used part of the Greenbrier for storage.
Oh, interesting. Well, this is another point I really love about the Greenbrier, is that during World War II, they pitched in. They did their part to support America. That's why and they do say it is America's resort. And it's so true. I get why they say that. But it became a relocation center for Axis diplomats who were in the United States and had been interned as enemies of the United States.
Was this during World War I or World War II?
World War II. And the first detainees were Germans. Later, they were joined by Japanese diplomats previously interned at the homestead in Hot Springs, Virginia. And then the hotel served as a diplomatic detention center until July the 8th, 1942. So once again, just the continuation, a beautiful story. And then after that, it became a hospital. Let's see. So the Army paid $3.3 million for the property, and this is back in 1942, which had been valued at that time at $5.4 million. And they took over control of the property on September the 1st, 1942. And
Question.
Yes, I do see your hands up. Yes.
How much is that in today's money?
Well, that would be more than $5.4 million. I don't know what that ratio is.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. It is
do, do.
Gosh,
do,
it's so
do,
stressful.
Do, do,
Okay, 5,
do, do,
4,
do,
0,
do,
0.
do, 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 do.
95, almost 95,500,000.
Is that it?
Yes. Did I do this right?
I don't know. That sounds kind of low, but
In 1945, right? Ish.
1942.
Oh, okay. Well, I was right.
It's the same. Give a couple dollars, but
Ooh, 108 million.
okay, that's
Does that feel a little better to you?
yeah. I still think that's undervalued, but yeah, no, I think that's probably right for what was there at the time. A very small,
Hotel and
yeah,
some cottages.
yeah, yeah. So the Army purchased the property. They took over September the 1st, 1942, and they converted the resort to a 2,000-bed hospital known as Ashford General Hospital, named for Bailey Ashford, a noted Army doctor. That hospital was opened on October the 16th, 1943, and the hospital treated nearly 25,000 patients at daggone zero before closing on June the 30th, 1946.
And if I remember correctly, when we did one of the historical tours, didn't they also say this is around the time when several of the cottages got kitchens built into them because there were officers, like medical doctors, that were staying in the cottages with their families, and so they needed a way for their wives to be able to cook. And so I think at least for the Florida row cottages,
Yeah.
a lot of them got kitchens at that time.
Oh, that would make sense. So once again, just a continuation of a beautiful story, just a lot of dignitaries, being there. And some of those were like Duke of Windsor and his wife, Wallace Simpson, Bing Crosby, Kennedy family, just far too many to even name. And let's see.
Let's talk about the bunker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that is so unique. So can you believe it? And I remember as a little girl, and I grew up in West Virginia, just a beautiful state, so many sweet people. But I remember when I was a little girl, there was always a rumor that there was something unique going on at the Greenbrier, but no one would really ever say. And then I guess come to find out about 30 years ago. Is that right?
I want to say it was in the 90s. Yeah, 1992-ish.
Was that it? We probably have to double check on that just
My
to
notes
make sure.
say that the Washington Post reported
Okay.
the story in 1992.
Okay, there you go. So in the late 1950s, the U.S. government approached the Greenbrier for assistance in creating a secret emergency relocation center for the House Congress in the aftermath of a nuclear holocaust. And when you think about that, gosh, that's so interesting, right? In the 1950s, what's so crazy? I can remember as a little girl, we would have, and once again, I wasn't born until 56, so this is a few years later. I can remember in elementary schools, we would do bomb drills all the time. And your father, of course, lived in Pennsylvania. He said the same thing. They would do bomb drills, what you do if a bomb is dropped. So the classified underground facility became named the Project Greek Island. And it was built at the same time as the West Virginia wing. an above-ground addition to the hotel, which took place from 59 to 62.
And I think, what's really interesting about, and I had been to the Greenbrier at least like 4 times before I realized that the bunker isn't underground. They mounded up a bunch of dirt and like inserted the bunker into it.
Yeah,
so
it's built into the side of a mountain.
You don't go down to get into it. You go to like the 3rd floor of the West Virginia wing and you enter that way. So it's like in a tunnel.
Oh,
do you like that?
Really? Yes. I was quite impressed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Because
is it really the 3rd floor?
Like
wow.
2nd or 3rd floor. Like it's not basement.
It's
that you
not
go to
like
to get to.
sub,
It's not like the bunker
10.
that we want to build here.
Yeah, true. Which we can't, but
in theory.
In theory, yeah. So just a really terrific piece of American history. For 30 years, the bunker was kept stocked with supplies, and it was never used as an emergency location, even during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Do you think?
So they'd say.
Dun, dun, dun. Do you think that there was somebody whose job it was to just go to the bunker and check for expiration dates? I bet so. You don't want to, like, in the event you need to use the bunker, you don't want to, like, poison all the congressmen and women with
and second thought, maybe you do. No, of course you don't. Well, no, of course you don't.
If that was your job, how would you put that on a resume?
I know, right? Like, where do you work? I check stickers. I don't know. It seems like a very viable position.
I work at the Greenbrier. Oh, what do you do? I'm in food management.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, my gosh. FIFO, right? First in, first out.
There you go.
Is that right? First in, last out?
Then that's life. No, LIFO is last in, first out.
Okay.
And FIFO, first in, first out.
Okay. Well, I remember something from college.
Good job. I bet you aced accounting.
Oh, you know I did.
I know you aced bowling. Coco.
Oh, my gosh.
What was your grade in bowling?
Well, do I have to say? Well, I mean, it wasn't all that bad. Well, kind of. Okay, so I'm never going to be a bowler with a D. I got a D. I wasn't an F, though. I mean, I could never get it.
You know what? I think you just say, it's because I'm a lefty. Just blame it on your left-handedness.
And you know what? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, of course, the Greenbrier does have a bowling alley, of which we've bowled in multiple times. So just back to a little bit more about the bunker itself. And as I think you mentioned a bit earlier, MC, that the existence of the bunker was not acknowledged by the government until Ted Gupp of the Washington Post reported it in 1992. So immediately after that publication, the government decommissioned the bunker. And the facility has since been renovated, and it's used to store it's used as a storage data facility for CSXIP.
And one thing also that was really interesting when we did the bunker tour was how they mentioned they hid the bunker in plain sight.
Yes.
And so the common area they would use for conventions and stuff.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Really just...
and they hit it was like 3 feet, no, probably like 2 foot thick, 2 or 3 foot thick
at least,
glass
yes.
door.
Yeah.
And they just tucked it into the wall and kind of made it blend in with the wallpaper.
Yes.
So nobody was none the wiser to the
yes.
fact this huge thick door was what covered it.
It's you're right. I think it's like 2 or 3 feet. It's really unique.
It's very
That's
robust.
Right. It is robust. Is a good term. So that's what else would you like to say? I mean, I could go on obviously about the Greenbrier.
How about we talk about what Governor Justice did for it in the mid 2000s? Which the West Virginia Greenbrier purists found to be very scandalous, but I would say it was a boon to the economy for the area, and that would be the casino.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And it was like a huge event. Like Jessica Simpson was there to help open it, a bunch of celebrities.
Yeah.
When Governor Justice bought it in like 2009-ish timeframe.
Right.
So anyway, oh yeah, the casino club opened in 2008. I appreciate, it seems like, you know, so for during COVID, what they really did was try to update and kind of patch and, you know, fix up the resort.
Yes.
Because, okay, so you mentioned the Old White Hotel was built in the 1800s, but then in the early 1900s, they built the big hotel that stands today.
That's right. And when did it become the Greenbrier? What year was that? I guess they officially changed the name of the Greenbrier.
In 1913?
Yeah.
And so when was the Holly House built, which is what we're talking about today, right?
Well, that's right. But let me just give a couple other plugs for the Greenbrier. You talked about the casino. Terrific golf for you golfers.
Yes.
Right?
And the famous golfer Sam Snead got his start there. So he was the golf pro at the Greenbrier before he became professional.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then tennis. Wonderful tennis
They
center.
have clay courts and indoor courts. Yes.
Yeah. And what is it they have there?
They used to have a big tournament, and actually during COVID again, several tournaments got canceled. And since the Greenbrier's arena is outside, they were able to host like a big kind of like round robin event there.
Yeah.
To help alleviate some of the stress of not being able to have as many tournaments for,
right.
I think it was the Women's Tennis Association.
Yeah, it's all matches during the 2020 World Team Tennis season were held at the Greenbrier.
And then now I think Liv has a golf tournament there.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be the PGA had a tournament there, and then that contract ended, and then Liv contracted a tournament there for the PGA. For the Greenbrier.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess, you know, no matter what you have an interest in, and living in Houston, I can assure you it is wonderful to go someplace a bit cooler in the summer.
And that has 4 seasons.
Yeah. But it's a great place. Like I say, not like it was at one time, but, you know, hopefully it will come back to its original glory at some point.
And I don't think you mean to say like it's run down. It's just it's a lot of time and effort and money to keep a 110-year-old resort up and running and like
that. You're exactly right.
Its peak, you know, and not only that, but then they have all these cottages and houses and other facilities, and so it's just managing everything they had, which is like an uphill battle to be sure, because.
That's right.
You know, I think I mentioned if I owned the resort, I would probably just pay somebody to hit, like their job year round would be to just paint the building. I can't imagine how much paint they go through to paint that building white, because inevitably, right, with all the weathering and stuff, it, you know, one side of it is going to have dirt and that sort of thing. And so by no means is it run down. It is just an older resort. And I think that's it. Also what you mean is like back in the 80s and 90s and before then, but from what I remember, you were not allowed in the resort if you had ripped jeans, if you had a crop top,
and you're right. That's exactly.
Had weird piercings in places other than your ears. Like you were asked to enter from a different entrance, but like to not be in the main areas.
It was discouraged.
Exactly.
So what I guess in essence, there was dress code policy.
And they very much stuck to
And
it.
that's what I miss.
Yeah.
I really do. I loved the fact that when you go to, the main restaurant, it was semi-formal or, your Sunday best, so to speak, right? Or you go into the
lobby.
the lobby, and you had to be dressed,
Right.
like resort attire.
Right. Like you couldn't walk through the resort in a swimsuit kind of thing.
And you still can't. You still can't. Not in the lobby.
Right.
Right. But I guess below, of course, you
Where
can.
yeah.
Yeah. With the check-in and shopping and that type of thing. But I love that about it. And you're right. The Justice family has done an amazing job. And I'm so thankful that we have a West Virginia family that loves it as much as West Virginians do and appreciates it like West Virginians do. I know at one point the Marriott looked at it and put a bid in about the same time the Justice family placed a bid. But it just would not have been the same.
Right.
But you know what? So you're exactly right. It's more of the
decorum.
It is. The just being proper, and because there are so few places that have that now. Like if I, I just have to say this. This is the funniest story. So we were staying at the Greenbrier, and Mary Catherine's oldest little girl was, I guess she was about, 4 years old at the time, maybe 5 years old. And she said to her poppy, which was her grandpa, my husband, we were getting dressed to go to dinner because we still dress to go to dinner when we're there. And she said to her grandpa, "Poppy, are you fancy enough to go with us?" Made him feel so bad, he went in and changed. So there you go.
Okay. While we're talking about dressing, can we talk about the stranger that undressed on our...
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
No, I want to because it's
Seriously?
it's one of my favorite stories.
But all the years I've been there and been going there, I've never, ever heard of anything or experienced anything
It is truly one of the memories that warms my heart. Okay, so we were staying in one of the cottages, and it was all of us in one cottage. It was a 4-bedroom cottage. So it was you guys, me, Preston, and our 3 girls, and then my sister and her little girl.
Yes.
And my sister loves a good 5 a.m. walk. She's a morning person.
I don't know where she gets that from.
Truly, I don't. We are not morning people.
No.
God bless her. Anyway, so out she goes onto our patio. And mind you, the patio of this cottage spans the entire length of the cottage. And it is probably 10 feet wide?
Yeah, like the old Southern homes.
Exactly. It's got this really nice wicker furniture, these super cute cushions on it. And anyway, so my sister walks out and she sees pants on the floor. I think there was even a watch that had been...
there was.
There was a watch that had been placed on a table. There
Yeah.
was a tie. There was a shirt draped over the back of a chair. There was a belt that was on the floor. There were shoes, and the socks had been nicely tucked into the shoes and placed under a chair. And so she sees all this, and she is just oh, whatever. Walks.
Remember, she thought it was like...
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
So then Preston and I go out to get breakfast for everyone, and we step out to this scene. And I was like, to my sister, did you not see this when you went out? And she's like, oh, yeah. I just thought you and Preston had just had some fun on the porch before you came inside last night.
Oh,
We're
my gosh.
We are not exhibitionists.
But thank you for asking.
Yes. Anyway, and so... we truly do not know who this midnight visitor was that left us all these clothes.
We didn't keep them. Even, I think it was a Rolex, right?
It was a really nice watch.
I think
for
it
sure.
was a Rolex. Yeah.
Anyway,
We called security and had them come and
no,
get
remember the cleaners? Right? No, the cleaners came and we were like, by the way, I'm not sure if anybody has called in like this jewelry, this watch missing.
That's
and
right.
they're like, no. And I was like, maybe somebody who's staying like next to us, like it's theirs. And they're like, well, you guys are the only ones staying on this side of the resort.
That's right. Like, woohoo. So I think, didn't we, because along the row, all the cottages look the same. And didn't we determine at one point that someone thought they were at their cottage?
Well, yeah, they thought they were at their cottage, but we were the only ones staying on that row. So they had gotten mixed up and I don't know.
Whoopsie daisy.
I know.
Whoops.
So,
that was not a good thing.
Whoever it is, I hope you got your clothes and your Rolex back.
Yeah,
but
really.
You left a really good family story for us, so thank you.
Yeah, true. Oh my gosh, we've had some good stories.
Yes.
But let's move on to the Holly House.
Yes.
And would you like to go ahead and tell a little bit about it?
So I know it was built in the early 1900s, right, when the railroad came in. And anytime the president of the railroad was the one who was allowed to stay at that property because, again, in the early 1900s, the railroad owned the Greenbrier. And so this was like their summer home. And they did a lot of entertaining there. And it had been expanded over the years. And as it stands today, I believe it has 7 bedrooms and at least 8 bathrooms, if not more.
Yeah, it says it's only 5 bedrooms, but no. It's definitely more than that, right?
I was counting in my head.
Yeah.
There are 7.
There's got to be, because there's
3, 4.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
yeah.
It's large, and what's really cool about it is in the way that they expanded it. So when you walk in, it is the original house. So it's 1 story, and sorry, let me back up. So it's situated on a hill, and the hill overlooks the entire resort.
Yep.
And it's this white house, and when you look at it head on, it looks like a 1-story house.
Yes, it does.
But in fact, it's not. But so you walk up these stairs to the entrance, and Dorothy Draper, she's known for decorating the entire Greenbrier, and she did have a hand in decorating the Greenbrier's Holly House as well.
Yep.
And so she has this like very signature look to her design. So she is the one who initially decorated this house. So you walk in and it's got like the black and white check tile, and it has, kind of like a small little entry, but then off to the right is like the big parlor, and that's where most of the entertaining was. And then off of that is this wraparound porch. And then over to the left is kind of the main bedroom. And then like straight to the back is the kitchen, and off of that is the kitchen dining area. And then there's also a dining room table.
Right, that's right.
In there somewhere.
Yeah. It is just really cool. Like MC mentioned, it's just so inviting because it's on this perch atop a hill, and just really so nice. And when you go in, the Holly House is a place to really appreciate and embrace the art of, the elevated living that they had back in the 1912s or early 1900s. And a lot of the furnishings are still hark back to that particular time in the 1912 era.
And what is cool about that one main bedroom that's kind of right when you go in, so if you look at it, so you go into the bedroom, and if you like take a left, there's like one powder room or like, bathroom and closet. But then if you take a right, there's another closet. And then if you kind of like look behind the hangers, there's where you can see there's been a door.
Yes.
That's been patched over.
That's right. That's right.
And so clearly back in the time it was built, it was a his and hers dressing room. And so on the one side that the bathroom is still attached to was the her side. And it was her vanity, her bathroom, her shower area, her closet. And then on the other side, the closet for the gentleman is still there, but that bathroom has been closed off to be like the guest bathroom at this point.
Yes.
But it is so cool to see that they really tried to retain that, that point in history when his and hers like dressing areas and bathrooms were the norm.
Right.
And I also think what makes the Holly House so interesting and cool is like when you think about where it's positioned in a way that it catches breezes from.
Yes, it does. I had forgotten about that. It's very pricey to stay there, but worth it. Really worth it.
And so you, obviously back then they didn't have air conditioning in the summers. And so you were always guaranteed to catch a breeze from one direction or another. And, let me just flip back to what I was saying. So that was kind of the phase one.
Yeah.
So phase two, you walk back past the kitchen and you walk up these stairs, and there's this huge, like 1.5 story.
It's beautiful.
Great room.
It's really I like it better than the lower portion. It's just so pretty. And what was really cool, Mary Catherine had said, she had been reading about the Greenbrier and the Holly House. At one point, they had this beautiful ballroom.
Well, and what I'd been reading about it was that they had been working on a renovation for it and updating it and kind of like taking away some of the dated stuff and like trying to put it back into a very period-specific layout and design and making it less choppy. And then they had mentioned they had plans to restore a ballroom in it.
Yes, and so we're staying there, and some people would say we're nosy Nellies, but I tend to think we are just
inquisitive
explorers. Yes, I like the term explorers. So we start looking around the property at the house, and we walk down these steps, kind of on the side of the house, and there's a door. And I'm like, whoa, what's in here? And we open it, and daggone, the ballroom.
Yes.
It was really, really cool. And they had started, as Mary Catherine said, they had started the renovation process. They had taken some of the stuff that was on the walls, and you could see this old wallpaper kind of seeping through, and paintings, and it was fabulous. And then what was really also very neat is we found stairs. Remember that?
Yes.
And we walk up these stairs, doop, 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 and daggone, we knock on the door because there's a door at the top of the stairs. And we realized that you guys had been staying upstairs, right? In the second story where you go up at that story and a half.
Well, this was for my birthday, so we weren't even staying there. It was the other part of our family that was staying there.
No, I thought we were.
No.
Oh, okay.
But yes, but from where we were able to open the door.
Just a little, because remember it was still kind of rickety. They were still working on it. And we saw a back kitchen that was actually attached to the top of that.
To that addition.
Yes, to the addition. That was magnificent.
Yeah.
That was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. So what they would do back in the day when they would have different balls and different functions in the ballroom, they prepare the food upstairs and come back downstairs and serve the food and back upstairs, pick up more. So just really a really cool find.
It's probably the closest I'll ever come to finding a treasure in a treasure hunt.
I know. Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
It was a treasure.
It was so cool.
So,
okay, so real quick, can you tell me why it's called the Holly House?
holly trees.
I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell holly.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I believe it is for one of the presidents of the railroad company at the time. But yes, that's why it's called the Holly House, is because it's named after one of the presidents of the railroad. I believe he may have been either the first or second president of the railroad. So is there anything else you want to tell me about the house?
Let's see here. No, I don't. What else?
Well, what is the haunting level factor?
I did not feel like it was haunted.
Same, but I do have, in the Holly House specifically, I think I told you this. I went into that kitchen you were referring to.
Yes.
And the refrigerator or the freezer door was open.
Yeah.
And like nobody had been in there. I'm not sure how it happened. It wasn't a gusty, breezy day.
What?
I have no idea. And so I just like shut the refrigerator or the freezer door and was like, I'm going to pretend like that didn't happen. And then I have another really funny story. So speaking of that sound. Okay. So we were staying in one of the cottages. This is for my birthday one year. And I was getting ready. And all of a sudden I start hearing this sound. And I was like, what is that? And so I was going around like listening, thinking I'm crazy. And then I like kept hearing it. So then I went into y'all's room and it wasn't happening in y'all's room. It was just happening in our room. And I was like, what is going on? And so I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, there is a legit ghost in here. And it's going, whoa, whoa. Anyway, and so then I'm like looking around more, and it turns out, you know how there are like the sample sounds on the iPad?
Sample sounds?
Yeah, that will like give you like a sample of like, for example, like on a stress app or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, somehow one of those sounds
no.
had started playing. One of those sounds had started playing, and it was I was charging my iPad in the bathroom right on top of one of the air vents. So and it was whales. And so the whales.
Oh my gosh, I remember this. Oh my
through
gosh.
The air vents.
Yes.
Making it sound like our room was haunted.
Remember this. Oh my gosh. And you're like, what is going on? I feel like I'm going crazy. Can you all hear this? And we're like,
hear what?
yeah. At first we were like, what? And then, yeah. Oh my gosh. I do remember that drama, major drama. That was hysterical.
Yes. So funny.
I've forgotten. Yeah. And needless to say, I can be a bit of a prankster myself. So,
well, that's why I was like, I
came looking to see if it was me.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yes. There you go. Okay. Well, I think we should close it up.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening to this hot mess.
And God bless.